how one community in Kansas teamed up with local health vendors to help educators. The Creative Learning Alliance looking to bring a science center to Joplin. South Middle School hosts their annual spring market.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
We may have dodged the severe weather bullet this go-around. However, heavy rain still pounded the area, leading to flooding concerns. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Chris Warner. Now, earlier today, McDonald County Emergency Management reported this evening that they had to rescue 2 motorists from the water earlier today. Thankfully, both were okay. We now go straight to meteorologist Nick Kelly with an update. Nick.
Well, despite all the rain that we picked up this morning, Chris, we saw some sunshine break out this afternoon and push us into the mid-60s for afternoon highs. Most of us around 66 after we started in the upper 40s this morning, about an inch and 2300ths, about an inch and a quarter rather, at the rain bucket so far today. All these flood warnings in southwestern Missouri are still in effect. Any green highlighting some of the area rivers, they're still running a bit high, and that'll take some time to subside, while flood watches are still in effect for a portion of southeast Kansas going into tomorrow afternoon because of more rain chances on the way. We're still enjoying our break in the action to start the late night out, but all the thunderstorms off to the west, while they themselves won't make it here, the system causing the storms will be headed our way starting during the overnight and certainly into tomorrow. Most of us are in the middle to upper 50s right now, and that's pretty much where we're going to stay throughout the overnight. And before that front rolls on through with more widespread rain and thunderstorm chances, we'll see highs early around 62. We'll see how much more rain's on the way and how the week ahead of us is shaping up here in just a bit, Chris.
All right, Nick, thank you. And would you like to be in the know and ahead of the storm? Well, you can be, and you can take the entire Skywatch weather team with you wherever you go when you download the Skywatch weather app. It's absolutely free, has the latest forecast, closings, weather alerts, and it's all in the palm of your hand. All you need to do is head over to the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, and search for the Skywatch weather app. Earlier today, the Spring River Wellness Center hosted a Lovin' on the Educators event in order to give back to teachers and school staff in Cherokee County. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with educators and event staff who stressed the importance of wellness for teachers.
The past year has been a challenge due to the pandemic. One group feeling the effects extra hard, educators.
The teachers have had a hard year.
The Spring River Wellness Center in Riverton saw a need to help teachers in the community and held a Lovin' on the Teachers event, showcasing their appreciation and support.
There was a need voiced in the community for some extra support for teachers and educators.
The Wellness Center offered many options for educators to de-stress.
We have essential oils to help with stress, anxiety, relaxation. There's some goodie bags. We have pedicures going on and a breakfast, and Griggs was doing spinal screenings.
Chad Harper, principal at Riverton High School, has seen firsthand how the past year has been a heavy load on teachers.
So an event put on like this truly helps teachers understand that they are appreciated outside the classroom as well as inside the classroom.
One teacher's aide, Shasta Parker, says it's nice to be supported.
I think it's just a great way for teachers and other staff to get together and kind of relax and just socialize outside of school and just have that recognition. I mean, it has been a year.
She says it's been a rough transition teaching in person amid the pandemic.
It's stressful. You're constantly having to remind kids to put their mask on, lots of hand sanitizing, so lots of dry hands, washing your hands constantly, and it's just everything different, from the cafeteria to the hallways to the bathrooms, everything it's just a different way of learning to do things.
Events like this just remind educators that their hard work doesn't go unnoticed. In Riverton, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Well, event organizers want to make educators know that despite how rough the past year's been, they aren't alone. The Creative Learning Alliance is bringing a science center to Joplin. This won't be expected to be open until 2025, however, and at the moment, they're unable to take their mobile exhibits out in public. So instead, they teamed up with Joplin's Empire Market to introduce their Show Me STEAM Physics Fun Bags. The bags include anything one would need for a physics experiment at home. This week's bag was a triangle tower.
Yeah, so we've got like newspaper and then the golf ball, and then there's some mailing labels. So kids will actually roll up the newspaper and then put together a triangle and use the golf ball to kind of see how they can balance it and build a little tower to figure out how compression and tension works in the everyday world.
She says that their upcoming center will be for people of all ages, and they were happy to give a bag to anyone who was interested today. Well, Joplin South Middle School hosted their third annual spring market today. At the market, vendors could rent out space in the gym to sell what they had to offer. The market also serves as a fundraiser for the school to help cover expenses outside their normal budget.
2 years ago when we started this, we were able to get risers for the choir. They've been singing on risers that were, from back in the 90s, and it was time to update those. And so we were able to take care of that ourselves. This way, if we've got a need for the students to improve their day or improve instruction or open up an opportunity for them, then we've got funds available where we can just get that pumped into them and roll with it.
Officials say they're grateful to the community for supporting their students. The Missouri Highway Patrol is investigating an officer-involved shooting in Kimberling City. Officials say around 10 a.m. yesterday, the Highway Patrol, Stone County Sheriff's Office, and the Kimberling City Police Department responded to an address on Port Holiday Lane 2 in Kimberling City after a call regarding a possible hostage situation. After several hours, Highway Patrol Troop D's SWAT team was called in. As troopers were attempting to negotiate, the suspect fired several shots. One trooper shot the suspect. The Stone County coroner pronounced the suspect dead. Officials are still investigating the incident. Missouri's rate of new coronavirus cases is ticking upward after months of decline. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch reports that the state's coronavirus infection rate has tumbled since the fall, with Missouri hit a peak 7-day average of 4,723 new confirmed cases on November 20th. That average fell as low as 343 on March 6th, but has since edged upward to 395 on Friday. Well, just after a year after the global pandemic was declared, the U.S. is approaching its 30 millionth confirmed COVID-19 case. As Tom Hansen reports from New York, with vaccine distribution gaining traction and COVID relief money on the way, there's hope on the horizon.
As the weather warms up, much of America is opening up. At least 15 states, such as Texas, now no longer have COVID restrictions on most or all of their businesses. That also includes Florida, where spring break is in the air.
We decided to get away from the cold and into the sun. A lot less people wearing masks.
The U.S. has hit a new vaccine milestone. More than 100 million doses have been administered, and the nationwide average number of new cases is down about 13% from a week ago. But those numbers are still high, and with more contagious variants spreading, health officials are warning against easing safeguards.
We need to keep our masks on, we need to socially distance, and so forth.
The nearly $2 trillion COVID relief bill President Biden signed into law this week will bring $1,400 stimulus payments to many Americans, starting as early as this weekend.
It provides food and nutrition, keeps families in their homes, and it will cut child poverty in this country in half, according to the experts.
In the war on poverty, the president's plan also includes $6 billion for food security-related programs, $25 billion in emergency rental assistance, and almost $10 billion in emergency mortgage aid for homeowners. There will also be more subsidies for those buying health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. Tom Hansen, CBS News, New York.
President Biden's COVID relief package brings the amount the U.S. has spent or committed to spend on crushing the virus and helping Americans to nearly $6 trillion. In today's dollars, that's about $1 trillion more than the U.S. military spending in World War II. And we take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Sonarman 3rd Class Roger Reed served in the Navy from 1946 to 47 and again from 1950 to 51 in Pearl Harbor and Korea, his hometown, Pittsburgh. We are proud to recognize Sonarman 3rd Class Roger Reed, tonight's four-state hero. And remember, to view other heroes or to nominate one of your own, just head over to our website at KOAMNewsNow.com. And that's a look at our top stories and a check of that forecast on the KOAM News at 10. Still ahead, the Joplin School District mourns the loss of one of their own. My name is Mr. Welly, and I love you all. The longtime message on the board in the classroom of a longtime Joplin Schools teacher. Now for something that's hit close to home for me and many others in the Joplin area. The Joplin School District is mourning the loss of one of their own, Mr. Dave Welling. Now for myself and thousands of other students, he was simply Mr. Welling. A science teacher at the high school, he began his career in 1985, making this his 36th year of shaping the lives of students. Mr. Welling contracted COVID last month. His son Gabe set up a Facebook group called Prayers for Dave, where he kept everyone updated on how he was doing. Unfortunately, last night's update shared that Dad has passed. We reached out to his son, who told us that family was the center of Mr. Welling's life, and his grandkids were a huge part of it. He loved JHS and every single student. Gabe also shared when he was with his dad, there wasn't a student's name he didn't remember, including mine when I visited him at the start of the school year this year. Dr. Stephen Gilbert, the principal at JHS, added that Mr. Welling was an incredible teacher and touched many lives. He had a great sense of humor and was a really good person. Now, the family has said Mr. Welling did not want a funeral. However, they do plan on holding a celebration of life sometime this year, and the Facebook group will be updated when those plans are available. They've also started taking donations to help with final expenses. Well, Nick Kelly is up next with his complete forecast, and a little later.
Women are making history at this year's Grammy Awards, but they are still underrepresented. I'm Danya Backus with how the Recording Academy is working to close the gender gap.
I'm really starting to sound like a broken record at this point with yet another day of rain, thunderstorms to start the day out. And you can see plenty of that from our time-lapse of indigo sky to start things out outside of Seneca, Missouri. But hey, it was nice to see the sunshine peek out underneath all the mostly cloudy skies that we saw today. But my goodness, we had more rain this morning than I'm sure nobody asked for. At least we're enjoying still our break in the action that started this afternoon. But more rain is on the way. But ever since midnight, the area-wide average 1.1 inches with the bullseye in the southern half of the viewing area. Look at this pocket of 3 to 5 inches along the Newton-McDonald County line. So it's no wonder we had flash flood warnings go out for those counties during the overnight and early this morning. And ever since the midweek, everyone's been running the gamut between 1 and up to 7 inches of rain, and still, unfortunately, more rain on the way. Southwest Missouri has flood warnings ongoing until we hit 11:30. Then we see flood watches for much of southeast Kansas until we get into the afternoon tomorrow, and a couple of flood warnings along the Kansas-Oklahoma border until 2:30 tomorrow. So it's going to take a while for all this water to recede and move on out. But again, we're enjoying a nice break on the radar here, while I've been keeping an eye on strong and certainly severe storms, even a couple of tornadic storms across the Texas Panhandle. While these storms in themselves won't make it here tonight, the system causing those thunderstorms will head our way tomorrow. In the meantime, though, we're quiet, we're dry and Joplin, but we're cloudy, with the temperature holding steady at 55, with the dew point pretty high at 52. Actually, the humidity rather high at 89%. Elsewhere, most of us are in the mid-50s, more upper 50s and lower 60s as you work into northeast Oklahoma, and I expect these temperatures to hold steady throughout the course of the night as we keep the cloud cover in place and we watch our storm system off to the west. Two parts of the system, if you remember, our front parked just to the south, the warm front in particular, while this cold front will start to head to the east tomorrow. And of course, the potent upper level low finally unleashing a torrent of snow across Wyoming and Colorado. All these systems heading east tomorrow, and so we'll focus on the front since that's going to be our main driver for rain chances tomorrow. In fact, we'll see rain chances around here start to pick up in our western counties after 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Then, as all these fronts start to roll on through, we're going to see another good scattering or good widespread batch of rain and thunderstorms, with the main threat here being heavy rainfall possible. If we can see a little bit more instability try to sneak in, we could see maybe a couple of strong storms. Not expecting a whole lot in the way of severe weather, but it's something I'll still keep an eye on as these rain chances move on in. So 55 in the morning, 62 by noon. And then we'll drop to 57 during the afternoon. This system, as it leaves, might want to end with maybe a few random showers on Monday, but any additional rain that we get, the crux of this rain, is going to be during our rain chances tomorrow, with the rain amounts ranging between half an inch and maybe up to 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches of rain. before we finally get the system out of here on Monday. 65 by the time we head toward Monday afternoon. Tuesday's looking great. Partly sunny with highs near 70. Then sticking with Doug's pattern, we got another storm system to watch on St. Patrick's Day. Thunderstorms in the forecast with highs near 62. Dropping into the 40s on Thursday and chilly but dry to start the weekend ahead of us out, Chris.
Still not a bad forecast overall. Feeling a lot more spring-like right now.
Yeah, thankfully a little more dry time in the extended forecast too.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. Well, speaking of that severe weather out there in the Texas Panhandle, take a look at this. This is video captured a very large tornado near the community of Happy, Texas, which is about 40 minutes south of Amarillo. The video shows the intense tornado over what appears to be a mainly rural area near Happy. No reports of any damage or injuries as of yet. Well, coming up in sports, we'll check in with 2 local Kansas high schools playing for state titles today. Plus, Blair Oaks and Mount Vernon go head-to-head in the Class 4 quarterfinals.
Tonight is state championship night for the high school basketball in Kansas. We have 2 local teams playing for state titles today, the Colgan girls and the Galena boys. The Galena boys are up against Heston tonight for the 3A state title. Brett Sarwinski from deep. That's Galena's first bucket. Sarwinski again gets the and one. Second quarter, Tyler Little will get his first basket of the game. Late in the half, Maverick Harmon pulls the trigger from deep. Here's the nice dish into Kobe McLaughlin for the score. Third quarter, winding down. Sarwinski at the horn. He had 19 in this one. Then it's Kaysen Richardson along the baseline. Bucket and the foul for Heston. Heston ends Galena's year short of the title, 45-36. The Bulldogs finish state runner-up. As for the Colgan girls, they aim for their first ever state title against Sterling in the 2A championship. Second half here, McKenna Linden out wide. She sinks the 3. Sterling leading into the fourth quarter now. There's a long pass across to Kate Rowland. She drops the corner 3. Sterling building their lead. Under 5 to play here. Colgan's got possession. It's Lauren Torrance. Her shot bounces off the rim here, but Colgan gets the rebound. Finds Lauren Yagmore for 3. Sterling, though, finishes this one off for the state title, 52-36. On the Missouri side, we have 2 local girls teams still alive in the state championships. In Class 4, Mount Vernon has a home game today with the chance to move on to the Final 4. The Mountaineers on the floor today against Blair Oaks. First quarter, the pass to Mallory Fick at the top of the arch. She drops 3. To the second now, Ellie Johnston. She'll pick up the loose ball here and then knock down the triple. Mountaineers trailing at half. The pass to Reagan Boswell in the paint. She puts up 2 through traffic. Then here's the inbound to Lacey Stokes in the corner. She gets the 3 ball. Stokes had a game-high 19 points. Mount Vernon squeaks out the win 46-45. They'll head to the Final 4 for the first time since 2012.
For our team to get to this spot, and get back to the Final 4 for the first time since 2012, unbelievable. Unbelievable for their resilience and fight and effort and grit.
We wrote a letter to ourselves in 8th grade, and I think mine was my senior, at least 1 year of high school to get to the Final 4, win state, and that's what I'm doing for my senior year.
In the Class 5 bracket, Carl Junction goes on the road today to face West Plains in the quarterfinals. Carl Junction gets down early. West Plains leads 18-5 after 1. The Bulldogs struggle to catch up. They ultimately fall to the Zizzers 61-42. Carl Junction girls finish their season with an 18-9 overall record. We'll be right back with more news.
Women are making history at this year's Grammy Awards. For the first time, every nominee in the Best Rock Performance or Best Country Album is a woman or a group fronted by a woman. But a new study shows there's still a long way to go when it comes to gender equity in the music industry. CBS's Danya Bacchus looks at how the Recording Academy is working to close the gender gap.
Folk artist Amethyst Kia knows about crossing music boundaries.
I pick the banjo up and they sneer at me.
She's creating her own sound, blending folk and rock with soulful vocals.
It definitely was something that was challenging. Becoming interested in a kind of music that it appeared as if, nobody that looked like me had ever participated in it or was participating in it.
Her single, Black Myself, was nominated for Best American Root Song in 2019. She wrote it after joining with Rhiannon Giddens, Layla McCalla, and Allison Russell to form the folk supergroup Our Native Daughters.
All of us knowing that feeling of being the only one in the room and to finally all be together in one room was something that I honestly never thought I'd ever experience.
An 8-year study of the music industry by the University of Southern California found women make up only 22% of artists, 12% of songwriters, and less than 3% of producers and engineers.
Why are the numbers so low? I think when you think about the disparities for women in music, it's a complex and complicated problem.
Valicia Butterfield-Jones is the Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer at the Recording Academy.
First, we have to make sure that we are hiring women, but then it's also about making sure that we are educating and developing the next generation. And so certainly mentorship plays a big part in that.
This year, to highlight those roles, the Academy kicked off Grammy Week with a Women in the Mix event, a virtual celebration of female producers, engineers, artists, and executives. Butterfield says they're making strides toward closing the gender gap, adding 831 new female voting members. Her goal is to make sure women like Amethyst Kia see themselves in all aspects of the music industry. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The Recording Academy has partnered with Berklee College of Music and Arizona State University to conduct a study focused on women's representation across all sectors of the music industry. Nick Kelly joining us with what we can expect for the rest of the night and tomorrow even.
Well, a little more dry time during the overnight to start, Chris. Then, as we head into tomorrow morning and throughout the day tomorrow, the rain chances ramp back up, including some thunderstorms I'll keep an eye on just in case. Highs near 62 early in the afternoon. This system winds down with a few showers on Monday with highs in the mid-60s, looking nice for 70 with partly sunny skies on Tuesday, but then sticking with Doug's pattern. Another system with thunderstorms back in here on St. Patrick's Day.
All right, Nick, thank you. And as you saw on Nick's graphic there, don't forget, set your clock forward 1 hour tonight, or otherwise you're not going to be up on time tomorrow. And that's our time for now. Our next news time is tomorrow night at 9 on Fox 14. Of course, we'll see you right here at 10 on KOAM. And thanks for making us part of your night.